Other than being at home or at work, we spend a lot of time at work. Wait. I got that all mixed up. Whether we're at home or we're sleeping, we spend a lot of time at work, awake. At least, at the very least, we definitely want our work space to be peaceful. We're going to talk about 3 ways that women can stop workplace chaos from ruining their peace. And we're going to do so in just one moment. Hey, everybody, I'm Marcyline, and you are inside of Stress Talk Live. This is the place where we help women over 40 to live healthier lives through strategic stress management and solution focused self care. I'm your host today, Marcyline Bailey, and I'm so glad that you joined us. We have quite a bit to talk about today, so I hope you'll bear with me as I'm trying to get a bunch of things straight. My camera's kind of kitty wampus. The set is kind of, I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, it doesn't matter because we have a lot we're going to share. Um, yeah, I said in the brief intro that, when we're not sleeping, we're either at home or we're at work for the most part. And we want our environment, the space that we're in, to be peaceful. And sometimes it's really hard to do that. There we go. Sometimes it's hard to do that when so much is going on around us. Well, we're going to talk today about how we can stop what's going on around us from ruining the peace that we have inside. Before we get to that, of course, I'm going to ask you to like, follow, and subscribe to ML Bailey Consultants. You're going to find me on Facebook, Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. Here's the tap link. Tap link is where you can sign up for my newsletter. And for those of you who have received your newsletters, I want you to tell me what you think because our newsletter has expanded. Not only are we sharing the video replay of our live stream, we're also sharing a summary, as well as a downloadable PDF for you to have for your use that you can use throughout the week to kind of help you remember what we talked about and use those strategies. In addition to those things, I've also included invitations. You'll have an invitation to join me in April for our very first Grateful Gathering. There's a link for you to sign up for that Grateful Gathering in this coming newsletter. Also, in April, I am going to drop my workbook. And if you have the newsletter, you'll see what it's about. It's all about stress relief and how we can maintain low stress levels. So that's some of what's in the newsletter. So you want to sign up at this link so you can get that. It comes out on Wednesdays. And then here's my website. Okay, what are we talking about today? We are talking about 3 ways women stop workplace chaos from ruining their peace. And there's a lot going on, you all. Let's just put it out there. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in not only in our workplace, but also in our just in general, in our lives, in the world. There's so much going on, and it's hard to maintain a peace inside because when there's things are so chaotic, we want to we want it to stop, right? And we want to feel safe. Because when we don't feel safe, what happens? The stress response kicks in and it constantly churns and it keeps us on edge. So I can't talk about all the things that are going on in the world, in this country, and in the world. So we're focusing on the workplace. But these strategies that I'm going to talk about are can be used anywhere. They can be used anywhere. Okay. So the first thing that I want to, and I'm going to put this over here, see if I can, didn't want to do that. Okay, so remember I was fiddling with my notes the other day, and so I'm fiddling with them again, trying to get it to work right for me, but it's not going to work right. So I'm going to have to, oh, maybe I can do it this way. Now, I just have to do it the way I do it. Okay, so I'm not going to fool with it. Not fooling with it. Okay, number one, we're going to talk about workplace competitiveness. Now, whew, this is a humdinger. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what it looks like. What does it look like when there's um, competition in the workplace? So, first, I probably need to say that competition in the workplace is not always bad. It's not always a bad thing because when there's um, when there's some competition, people tend to step up, right? They tend to um, do their best, put their best foot forward, and it can be a good thing to have a little competition in the workplace. But there is something such as toxic competition. And when there's toxic competition, that's not a good thing. It's not good for employees. It's not good for the workplace. It is just not good. So how do you know, or what things do you recognize when there is toxic competition in the workplace? Well, one of the things that we see is that people don't share information or resources. They withhold that from their coworkers. That happens, right? We know that that happens. People keep information because information is power, but it doesn't always serve. Um, it doesn't always benefit anyone to withhold information or resources from their coworkers. There's also somebody who's very competitive will also promote themselves over the team. And you see that self promotion is not a bad thing. I don't want to say it's a bad thing because it's not. But when a person promotes themselves over the team constantly, that is a sign that they have a competitive nature about them. And when I'm talking about promoting themselves, when there's a team project, they talk about what they did. When there's the team is working together, they talk about their contribution exclusive of everyone else's contribution to the project. So there is a lot of self promotion. You find in a competitive environment, there's gossip, backstabbing, a lot of negative talk as well as negativity. So you see that as well when it comes to competitive environments. What's the result? There's a lot of high stress and burnout, there's low morale, and there's poor communication and poor collaboration. So how do you avoid that? How do you how do you stop that kind of chaos of workplace competition from ruining your peace? Well, here's some strategies that I would suggest you use. First of all, figure out what your catalyst is for your own competitiveness. What's causing you to be overly competitive in the workplace? And you might say, well, I'm not overly competitive. I think all of us have some competitiveness in us, and we might want to be the best. We might want to show what we can do. We might want to put our best foot forward. But figure out what your catalyst is, what causes you to be competitive in the workplace. Also, if you are the competitive person, what causes you to target a particular person with your competitiveness? The other thing is, we can't always read other people, so it's very hard to know why other people are competitive. But what you can do is definitely engage them in confidence. You can also work on building your relationship with that person. A lot of times when people are competitive, they feel like they are at a disadvantage in some way. So work to build relationship with that person. Also, engage in purposeful collaboration. Work together. Even when a project or a design does not call for collaboration, try to collaborate in some way. Seek ideas, seek suggestions, get feedback from your teammates. The other thing is, set your own goal. Set your goal that you're working towards. This will help you to focus not on what other people are doing, but to focus on yourself and your place in that particular workspace. The other thing I would say is work to strengthen your weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? A lot of times I would say that in a an overly competitive environment, it's because people don't always recognize, let me put it this way, they don't always focus on what they need to work on, and they want to promote their strengths. Well, look at your own weaknesses and what you need to do in order to strengthen those weaknesses. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you're the competitive person, work on yourself in the workplace. If you know another person is very competitive in the workspace, then work to build collaboration, work to build a relationship with them. That's one of the ways that chaos, that competitiveness causes in the workplace can be tamped down. What's another thing that we can do when we're talking about workplace chaos? We can use the transformative power of gratefulness. Now, I am, as you know, I will be a host for Grateful Gatherings beginning in April. And these grateful gatherings are going to be a place where, or are a place, they're currently occurring around the world. They are a place where we can engage in meaningful conversations about what is happening in the world and our place in it, as well as how grateful living fits into our lives and our lifestyles. So I do invite you all, especially if you have the newsletter, you're going to have an invitation to attend those grateful gatherings. And all you have to do is click and register, and you'll get all of the information. But when I'm talking about the transformative power of gratefulness, I want to share information that is in a blog post that was written by the CEO of gratefulLiving.org. His name is Joe Primo, and he wrote an article called Gratefulness, the Common Ground. And I thought this was gratefulness is our common ground. I thought this was such a powerful piece because when we're dealing with workplace chaos, it's a lot of times it's because we're not talking the same language and we're not working in concert with each other, and we're not on common ground. And gratefulness, according to Joe, is where we can find common ground. And I wanted to share this with you. When we are on common ground, meaning when we are in a shared space with shared understanding, common ground requires curiosity, it requires openness, as well as commitment to understanding. I talked about workplace competitiveness just a few minutes ago. What's missing when we are overly competitive? What's missing is curiosity, openness, and a commitment to understanding. When we are when we strive to be on common ground, that's what we need. Curiosity, openness, and the commitment to understanding. Common ground means that we acknowledge what we share and we honor our uniquely lived lives. This is a statement directly from the blog, and I thought it was, again, very powerful. When we are on common ground, or when we're seeking common ground, it's because we are acknowledging what we share and we're honoring our uniquely lived lives. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Is that possible in the workplace? I think it is. I think it is. And I think it is possible. There's a shared language that we have when we're on common ground, and a shared language when we're expressing gratitude in order to get to that common ground. And that shared language fosters discovery of common ground via the expression of humility, wisdom, and hope, because it all reveals our shared humanity. It's about being a human in a world that we can't predict what's going to happen next. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're human. We're human. And if we're seeking common ground is really the key practice of gratefulness. So, in order to seek common ground, the best way to do it is to practice gratefulness. And we can do that through grateful living. When we do so, we acknowledge our interdependence because we rely on each other to survive. And that's a reality, no matter how you look at it. Just because somebody lives in North Carolina and I live in Georgia, it does not mean that what happens in North Carolina doesn't affect me. It does. It can affect me. Just because someone lives in California and I live here in Georgia, it doesn't mean that what happens in California doesn't affect me. It does. We're interdependent. And if you don't believe me, check out your home insurance rates. Check those out. Watch those. Watch to see if they go up or if they go down and how much they're going to go up by. because of the fires, because of the devastating fires in California and the devastation in North Carolina because of the flooding. A lot of what we live through affects other people. It affects other people, whether we like it or not. That's why we're interdependent. But when we practice gratefulness, let me get back to that. It acknowledges our independence for survival, and it also deepens our understanding of ourselves as well as others. So, in order to stop workplace chaos from ruining our peace, we need to practice the transformative power of gratefulness. And I'm not just saying expressing gratitude and thanks. I'm saying living, being a living, breathing conveyor of gratefulness. Okay. So we've talked about workplace competition and what we can do in order to tamp it down. We've also talked about the transformative power of gratefulness. I'd like to now talk about and share practical methods for building inner calm and chaos. And I may not have time to finish this, but for those of you who have the newsletter, get the newsletter on Wednesday, you will get a downloadable PDF that summarizes this this podcast, as well as provides links to some of the things that I've talked about, as well as a list of the methods, entire list of the methods. So let's talk about calm. Calm is a state of feeling at ease with yourself and others in an environment. It's not just inside. It's being calm. It's being at a state of ease with others as well as yourself in the environment that you're in. And when we're calm, we are fully present and comfortable with ourselves as well as within ourselves. How often do you find yourself feeling calm when you're in your workplace, in your workspace? Based on this definition, being fully present, meaning focused with your attention and awareness on the present moment, not jumping into the future or hanging out in the past, and feeling comfortable with yourself, with your being, and within yourself inside. Also, when we're calm, that means that there's an acceptance and a contentment with whatever is happening around us. Okay? There's a peace about it. Not meaning that I should change that. I shouldn't say that we accepted it, what's going on, but it doesn't affect us to the place where we're not able to function. We can see it, we acknowledge it, and we know we can problem solve whatever's happening. And if we cannot problem solve it, we know that it's not going to last always. That it's temporary. It's a temporary state of being. When we're calm, we're in a balanced state of mind, regardless of what happens. And that's what I was trying to say. That in a state of calm, no matter what's going on, we know that it's temporary and we remain balanced. We remain comfortable within and with ourselves and fully present. So let's talk about some of the methods. And there are 12 things on this list. And I'm just going to run through them because you're going to get the PDF that lists them as well. Okay, so I'm not going to go over time, but I want to go through the list. Meditation is number one. This is a method that you can use. Remember, mindfulness meditation is something that I teach in groups, and mindfulness meditation is bringing our attention to the present moment and simply seeing what comes up without bias or judgment. Mindfulness meditation. The second is to embrace the present moment. And in order to embrace the present moment, we actively, we actively, um, we're actively curious. There, that's a good phrase. We're actively curious and we are attending to the present. As I said before, we're not jumping into the future, not even 5 minutes into the future, and we're not hanging out in the past. We are actively present and actively curious. The second is, um, third is we have a positive mindset. We have kind regard, acceptance, and openness, and we demonstrate that. Kind regard, acceptance, and openness. We we have a positive mindset. And gratefulness helps us with that positive mindset, doesn't it? Number four, we accept and love ourselves. And what does that mean? We appreciate our own uniqueness, regardless as to whether anybody else does. We embrace who we are and we embrace our own uniqueness. We also practice self care. Remember, or I shouldn't say remember, but I look at self care as being a fertilizer. It's a fertilizer that feeds your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit. When we practice self care, we're fertilizing ourselves so that we can grow stronger. And so that whatever fruit we bear is sweet and useful. Okay? Self care. Spend time in your happy place. Now, what is your happy place? You might say that your happy place is in Hawaii on the beach, but you can't get there. That's okay. Pull up a YouTube video of Hawaii on the beach, or just imagine it. Take some time practicing mindfulness meditation and then use some guided imagery to help you to see yourself on the beach in Hawaii. Breathe. You all hear me talk about the breath of life. Yes, we have to breathe. And when we are tense and stressed, we tend not to breathe. When we've had an upset or something has surprised us, we stop breathing. We need to practice breathing. Spend time outdoors and in nature. Studies have shown that we are calmer and our stress levels are lower when we are outdoors. Take a walk, leave the building, take a walk. Practice grateful living, and that goes beyond the expressions of gratitude, as I said earlier. Practice acceptance, meaning avoid worry for the sake of worry. I often tell my clients that when they're saying they're so worried, I'm saying, well, did you solve the problem? And they always say, no. So your worrying didn't do anything. So avoid worrying for the sake of worry. Practice non judgment. We need to stop judging things as to whether it's good or bad. It just is. And then, number 12, develop meaningful connections with others. Take the time to build relationships with others. Get to know other people. Allow other people to get to know you. Because again, when we are in a community, we are healthier. So I've just talked about 3 ways in which we can, as women, stop workplace chaos from ruining our peace. The first was practices that tamp down workplace competitiveness. I've also talked about the transformative power of gratefulness. And number three, I talked about practical methods for building inner calm and chaos. Oh, building inner calm amid chaos. So that's it. That is all for today. Thank you for joining me. Again, sign up for the newsletter if you have not. For those of you who are subscribers, you'll get it on Wednesday. It includes the replay as well as a summary and a downloadable PDF that shares what we talked about. I'm Marcyline Bailey. As always, take good care.